And Mayor Rudez.
I'm present.
Okay, also present is
Attorney Joe Miller.
Ernest.
Did you get?
is Ms. E here?
She's muted. You're
Yes.
muted. There she is.
Ernestine Beck-Fulgham, Village Manager.
Village Clerk D. Jones. Anyone else?
Okay.
Any other guest?
No.
Okay.
All right. Do I need to read the disclaimer again?
Yes, please, because this one is apparently we have a larger audience here for this one, so I would read it again just because some new people seemingly have joined the meeting there.
Awesome. No problem. Okay. Pursuant to Governor Pritzker's Executive Order 2020-07, COVID-19 Executive Order Number 5, which suspends the requirements of the Illinois Open Meetings Act requiring in-person attendance by members of a public body during the duration of the gubernatorial disaster proclamation. The members of the village board will not physically present for the designated board meeting, but will instead be participating in the meeting through audio access using a virtual meeting platform. Public comments may be submitted in advance of the meeting to Village Clerk D. Jones at djones@university-park-il.com or by text message to 708-473-6201. All comments must be received by 5 p.m. the day before the meeting. In order to give proper consideration to all items on this agenda, the mayor will limit participants in the debate and will close off protracted, repetitive, irrelevant, or abusive remarks. Public comments will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. Thank you for your time and your patience. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance as well. I pledge
Yes,
allegiance
to the flag of
the United States
of America,
and to the country
to the republic
For
which it stands, one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with liberty and
Justice.
justice for all.
for all. Madam Clerk, do you have any, let me ask you a question, Madam Clerk. Got,
Yes, sir.
some guests who've been in the waiting room for a long time. So after public comment, do we need a motion to move them up one step on the agenda?
You don't know. I do just prefer a motion to amend the agenda to allow them to go out of order.
Okay. All right. All right, Madam Clerk. Thank you. Thank you, Attorney Miller. And public comments, Madam Clerk.
I received one public comment on February 23rd at 8:16 a.m. from Vivian Covington. As you remember, I mentioned I had one that came in the day of the meeting, which we did not read. And it says, "Good evening, Clerk Jones. My question, number one, over 2 years ago, I, along with President Einhorn, Metro representatives, and South Suburban mayors and managers agreed and granted me the Metro station upgrades, along with the repairs that were already done on the road. A, what cost are the engineers charging the village at this stage of the game? Hopefully, fundings are not wasted on engineers to review at this early stage. Number two, when will you announce openings for the committees you are restoring? Number three, have the chairs been chosen for these committees?
Okay, real quick, manager, but I'd like to answer that. They've been announced and they're open spots for the Police and Fire Commission, and the chairs have not been appointed, and it's consistently on the bulletin board and on the website to answer those two questions as one, the last two. Does anybody else want to respond to anything?
Mayor, I'd like to respond to the first question
Yes, go right ahead, Madam Manager.
Okay. First of all, I made this report the latter part of fall of last year, but I just wanted to reiterate something. First of all, this project had initially been in the workings, but specifically numbers were not submitted. All that was done. And we received a letter from CMAP, Chicago Metropolitan Agency on Aging, for planning. They're the entity that IDOT used as a pass-through to award monies via South Suburban mayors and managers and their entities that opt in. University Park, of course, opts in that. So just to give you an idea, the question was asked, how much are we spending on engineers since the work was done on the rest of University Parkway? We are not asking any monies for University Parkway, the side path on the south side of the street from University Park all the way west to Governor's Highway have been completed. I mean, we're not asking for any monies per se on that. Well, it's not totally to Governor's Highway because it stops at the sidewalk there at Governor's State. But what we've done since then, we've picked up on University Parkway and took it all the way east and completed that street and also completed the railway. But the real question here remains the cost of the engineers for the metro station design. Village was in fact awarded the project, but the numbers is we were able to, and this was for programs that were for fiscal years 20 through 24 under the STP program, 20 to 24. This was the years that was funded. Just to give you an idea, we received a letter from CMAP saying, yes, you've been funded for engineers for $2.5 million for phase one engineering, $2.5 million. But there are three phases of engineering. Phase two and phase three of engineers is going to be incorporated in the total cost of the project. Now, the total cost of the project, all three phases, are $34.9 million. $34.9 million. That includes engineering and construction. But right now, we can only deal with phase one, and the phase one cost is $2.5 million. So the next question comes, where we're going to get the $2.5 million. And that's been my concern because the village has found themselves into not paying 20% matches on transportation projects. The state have been paying 80% and we've been left to pay 20%. And in many cases, the village has not paid that 20%. And so what happens subsequently, what the state does is they take their monies back in dollars the village receives. And that's one reason why we have a shortfall in dollars. It was 75.25% and 80 and 20. So they took their monies out of some of the monies that the village would ordinarily receive, like Illinois First dollars, some motor fuel tax dollars. So subsequently, our dollars were substantially reduced until they got their monies back. And so that bothered me. So we went in. We were able to get 100% funding, 100% funding for our share through SDP. It's a reimbursable program. So, which means that if we were to pay up front, we'd get the reimbursement back. And ultimately, when the project was over, it was zero. But still, that created another problem for us. Looking at our budgets and looking for some of the kinds of things we we would do, we were able to get the consent of Will County to want to participate in this. So we're trying to set up logistically these meetings, which means that Will County, through their transportation authority, will pay 100% of the cost, get reimbursed through STP, and the village won't even have to come up and budget for that to even get reimbursed. And that's what we're working on. So we went a step further. So when we got funded, it was 100% reimbursement, but then working with Will County, and they want to be involved in this Metro project, we're gonna set it up. Hopefully they will agree to, and it was suggested that they'd be paying out of their funds and get reimbursed through STP themselves. And the village would not have to handle the financial part at all. In other words, they will pay the engineers directly, and the village would not have to do any of that. And that's what we're working on now. And I'm glad someone asked that, because it really gives an opportunity of how the village is trying to put ourselves in a position to not to have to pay these costs, because we just don't have them.
Mayor, can I be recognized?
Still would have to budget it. If it were a reimbursement, you would still have to budget it, even though the end of the year it would balance. But this way, this is what we're working on, and hopefully we'll get it rectified prior to April 30th. So.
Thank you, ma'am. Trustee McMullen, and
Okay.
that's
Madam
starting at 20. Yeah,
Madam Manager,
2020.
I was there with the initial conference with Metro and the former mayor. And when are you going to start the process of renovating the Metro station? Because we are the last ones to be renovated. So when is that supposed to start?
October
Well,
1.
Scaffolding right now, but they haven't started the renovation yet, because I travel it every day.
Okay, what we're trying to do right now, we're trying to get it set up financially. Once we get up financially, we've already been issued the approval to start. So it's a matter of us starting the process, meeting with Leslie Phimister to concrete date and getting started. But we got to get the financial process clear with the Will County Transportation, and that's what we're working on now. So we're hoping the spring of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Spring of the
Thank
year.
you. I relinquished my time. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. If there's no one else, I would like to just make a motion that we amend the agenda and just switch the order and allow the Dollar General to come ahead of Fire Chief Chelios.
Yep. That's right, Mayor. That's the motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second,
Wait a
by-
minute, made the motion?
the mayor,
Mhm.
No,
Trustee Brooks.
Brooks.
Mhm.
Okay.
And
You're
Trustee,
muted.
He's muted. Yeah.
You're muted.
I'm sorry, Madam Clerk. I got somebody working out back here. Yeah, I
Okay.
make the motion to move
change the order of the agenda.
Dollar General move over in front of the fire chief.
Thank you so much. All right, Neva, please allow them in and thank them greatly for their patience.
let me do the.
Oh, roll call.
Trustee Williams,
Both sides.
Trustee Brooks,
Vote aye.
Trustee Jenkins Bell,
Both sides.
Trustee Franklin,
Both sides.
Trustee Bolden,
Aye.
Trustee McMullen,
I vote aye.
and Mayor
I
Mayor.
concur.
They're
Look,
on the call.
Okay,
We have Mr. Keller and Mr. Munn. Mr. Munn is the engineer.
okay. Good evening, guys, and thank you so much for your patience.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right.
good
Mr.
evening.
This is Hunter Keller, and I need to explain, I'm having to borrow my daughter Maggie's computer, and her expertise to kind of help me through this. So I'm definitely not Maggie Keller. I'm Hunter Keller.
Okay, all right. Well, I wasn't going to say anything. It's a different world.
Okay. Y'all doing okay?
We're doing
Yeah.
fine. Thank you for
Could you,
asking.
Okay.
could you please for me spell your last name?
Keller.
Okay. And you're with Dollar General.
Well, I'm with the developer for Dollar General Capital Growth.
Okay.
We're one of their preferred developers
Okay.
in many states, including Illinois.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Mr. Keller, it's on you, sir.
Well, thank you again. And there I go. I'm sorry. I just wanted to let you know, and I've spoken several times to Miss Beck Fulgham, and thank you for your help, Miss Beck Fulgham, over the past several months. We are right now in the process of trying to locate a site for Dollar General in the University Park area there on University Parkway. They have, as their preferred developer, they give us targeted areas to pursue locations. And the good news is this is one of them. And so right now we're just in the kind of preliminary stages of finding a location. We may have found one, we think, but we're still working through some details there. And but we're hopefully getting closer.
Mr. Keller, want to just talk about the location? Because I called the board and I asked them about their opinion about it. So if you don't mind, just go in the middle into detail about the location, because there were questions and concerns regarding a Family Dollar on University Parkway and down the street. So I would just like, if you can, just go a little more in depth about the location, the potential site location.
Oh, okay. Yes, we're going to be on the south side of the Parkway, near or just west of Western Avenue. Between, I believe there's a convenience store to our west and a retail shopping center to our east.
Mm-hmm.
And it's we're trying to purchase, I believe it's 2 to 3 acres there is part of a larger site. I think part of an 8 or 9 acre site there. And Dollar General has always wanted to be in University Park and the Crete area. Just to give you a little bit of background. We just built one and opened one in Crete, I believe. Was it last year, Travis, that we opened there in Crete?
Yes, I believe that's correct.
That's
Okay.
the one on Main Street.
Yeah, on Main Street, kind of north of Exchange, and they kind of want to get that one open first, and so then since that one's been open and I'm assuming doing well, they've started pushing on University Park. So they give us specific intersections to kind of work from and try to stay close to, for their locations. And the site we have actually, or the site we're trying to get is actually very close to their targeted intersection there at Western and University.
So, and some of the questions that was asked to me is like, well, there's a Family Dollar right down the street, and what about the Family Dollar? And I've had that discussion with one of you guys. I don't remember who it was, but that was one of the concerns of the residents, and how was it look, and what do we want the community to look like?
Right. Well, I know from Dollar General's standpoint, they compete with Family Dollar just about everywhere.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I mean, literally, as y'all probably know, and so from their standpoint, of course, I think, their store is going to be, and we're biased, newer, and obviously we think a lot better and nicer. And I don't know if y'all have been in any of their the recent stores that we've done up there, for example, Light Creek, but I think they're really well done and do a good job with the property, the landscaping, the building, the exterior building. The interior's very nice, and they've upgraded it several times here in the last couple of years. So they're not concerned about that at all, obviously, because they compete with them just about everywhere in every market, throughout the country. And we do these in many states for Dollar General, so we see that quite a bit.
My question, I have a question. May I be recognized?
Yes, Trustee.
Okay, I was wondering, how do you feel to be so close? I mean, it's in walking distance, the dollar store, And if you're saying that you're gonna be right down the street, how does that make you feel?
It's really okay with Dollar General, because, as I mentioned, their targeted intersection was Western and University. So when they give us an intersection like that, they would like to stay within, probably a half a mile to a mile of their targeted intersection. And one of our issues here is we can't go too far east because of, the Crete location.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd like to keep it, in the village, area itself, and as close to that intersection as we
Mayor,
can.
can I be recognized?
So,
Mayor, can I be recognized? Go ahead.
Yeah. All right, let him finish, Trustee McMullen. Go ahead right here.
Okay.
Go ahead, Hunter.
oh, okay, I'm sorry. So there's kind of a small window there, that we can work within, in terms of where they tell us they would like to be. So, and, we're obviously limited to the sites that we can purchase, that are for sale or that we can actually buy. And in most markets like this one, they're kind of few and far between. So, we normally check on a lot of sites when we come into a market and then see where it ends up at the end of the day when the dust settles. So, that's why we are where we are right now. And, we've kind of gone through that process of seeking out, other potential locations within that, area that they want to be in. And this is at least for now where we've landed.
Okay. Trustee McMullen?
Yes, my question is for Mr. Hunter. I would like to know the upkeep of the store. Is it much better than the upkeep of the store that we have right now? Because right now, I've been very vocal with the managers of the store that we have now, and it's run down, if you ask me. I don't even shop, but I don't want to go in there because it's not to my liking. It's not to my liking. How do you propose in keeping the store nice and neat as opposed to what we have right now on the north side of the street, the one you're speaking of, that you're going in competition with?
Is that the Dollar General? Is that Dollar General or the Family Dollar?
Family Dollar.
Family
Okay.
Dollar.
The upkeep of that store is unacceptable. It's very unacceptable. And I don't shop, but it is. And
Right.
I'm gonna say, how do you compare to them? Is that the same one that you have in Park Forest?
No, I mean, I think ours will be built new and will be a much obviously newer and nicer store, and will be landscaped and I think they do in general do a pretty good job of maintaining their properties. I can't speak for Family Dollar. I mean, obviously that's a different company. I know what you're saying though. I've noticed, and I know that I think Dollar General tries to do the best they can in in keeping their property maintained, and particularly with these newer locations that we've been doing over the past several years.
That's
Oh,
a beautiful
recognize.
store on Main Street.
It's
Trustee
something I
Franklin?
would
Relinquish
definitely
my
mention
time
to,
there. Okay.
Mayor,
it's
can I-
something I'll pass along, obviously.
Trustee
Okay, I think
Franklin?
me and I think Franklin and I go in the same way. Go ahead.
I want
Go
to,
ahead.
first, I want to thank you for your coming to the meeting today and presenting this opportunity. My personal opinion is that it's a great opportunity. I don't think that we're in a position to turn down any business that's willing to come to the community. I've been to the store in Creek quite frequently, actually, and it's a very nice store. As it compares to a Family Dollar, I think it has a little more frozen products, groceries, and different things, a little more
Right.
selection. I've noticed that. As far as the competition relates, and it being on the same street, I just have to say, if you go to Richmond Park, you have a Dollar General and a Family Dollar within a 1 mile radius. If you go to South Chicago Heights, you have a Dollar General, Family Dollar, and Dollar Tree within a 1 mile radius. If you go to Olympia Field, same thing. And competition drives prices. It's a part of the business. So I think when competition drives prices, it also will light a fire under the other stores that we have in the
There
community.
you go.
If this store comes into the community and does right by the people of University Park. So I think a healthy competition would be good for Family Dollar.
Okay.
As Trustee McMullen mentioned, I'm a bit concerned about Family Dollar in the next 5 years. So as it's a very essential store to our community, because I found myself there when we need things that, we don't want to leave the community for. But I think this would be good, healthy competition. It's almost why they built a Marshall's right next to Ross. So they put Food for Less right across the street from Walmart. You know what I mean? It's competition.
Burger King from McDonald's. Absolutely.
Fast food, yep.
It's the nature of the business. So I think this is a great idea, a great opportunity for the village.
Trustee Shirley Bolden and Trustee Sonia Jenkins. I saw you take it off from mute, Sonia, so that's why.
Actually, go ahead, Sonia. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Trustee Shirley, then Sonia.
You go. All right. Actually, I was just going to echo what Trustee Franklin said, and he voiced all the concerns that I was going to mention. So we seem to be on the same page on that. But I have one other concern, though. Once you get in there, because that's what we're seeing at Family Dollar, the upkeep in there and to keep the store decent. So when we walk in there, we're not walking all over stuff they got in the middle of the aisle. So we want someone to ensure us that it's going to be, the upkeep is going to be much more better than Family Dollar. And the other question is, are you going to be, when you get in there, you're going to be hiring residents from University Park, and the manager has to be someone that's care about keeping the store operational and in decent order.
Yes, ma'am. Agreed, and I will certainly pass that along.
Please.
And we don't get involved in their hiring practices,
see.
but
Okay.
I'm assuming though that they're going to be hiring locally.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously for sure. I would expect that. I can check into that more for you,
Please.
but and I'll certainly pass along your all of your maintenance, upkeep concerns.
Okay. Thank you. Please pass the message, Hunter. Pass it on. Sonia,
I will.
Trustee Jenkins.
Oh, yeah, I just want to take the time to thank you for coming out and considering our community to put your store in place. And I'm excited. I'm like Trustee Franklin is going to give Family Dollar is going to put them in a position to step up their game if they want to continue to be competitive here in our community. I am a frequent shopper at the Creek Dollar General, and that is far from where I live, and I'm really excited because I can just go around the corner, and if I'm feeling real good, I can walk. But I'm excited about that. But I wanted to ask, does your stores, do they offer incentivized programs that would enhance, will help some of our youth programs that are going to exist in our community? We have Coach Franklin that has a very viable Trustee Franklin, I call him Coach because he's the head coach of the University Park Lions. Do you do incentivized programs that will assist our youth? do you offer,
You know,
do you support the youth?
I'm not sure about that. Again, we're the developer for Dollar General. I can check into that with them. I mean, that obviously that would be on Dollar General, who's they'll be our tenant, so y'all understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
We would buy the property, build the building, and then lease to Dollar General.
Okay.
So, but I can certainly look into that and check into that for you. I honestly don't know.
Okay.
So Hunter, is the plan, if the location works out and everything works fine for you guys, is the plan to have it recessed off of Exchange, a setback, or is it going to be on the main boulevard? And your design, I thought I had a glimpse of maybe some renderings or something. So is it set back, or is it going to be like more on the frontage?
Gosh, I can't remember offhand. Travis, do you remember?
Yeah,
anything?
so yeah, I'm with Hurley and Stewart. We're the engineer for Capital Growth. And yeah, we put together a conceptual site plan. And with this particular layout, the front of the building is about 100 feet off of University Parkway.
Okay.
With the parking spaces in front of the building.
Okay. Yep. All right, about 100 feet setback. All right, awesome. That was my only question, and that was my only question. And if everything goes right with the purchase of the land, will there be construction this season, preferably?
My guess is we'll start construction next year.
Okay.
It'll probably, just depending on the approval and permitting time, and when we get the property, finally get it under contract, hopefully soon. And then we'll, we've got to go through a formal approval with Dollar General, after we get the property under contract, which we should get, within a couple of months or so of getting the property under contract. We hope to get their formal approval. Once we get that, then we would start on our permitting and approval process, and based on experience, just about everywhere, including in Illinois. My guess is we'll close on the property probably sometime early next year, and start construction immediately. We start construction immediately after we close.
Okay.
So it would be a 22, sometime in 22 opening.
Okay.
But we expect,
Wish we could do it quicker, but it takes time.
Yeah.
we expect for the design and the square footage to be pretty much similar as the one in Crete.
I think and I'm not sure what's going to happen here. What I was about to say is their stores are larger than, I'm not sure how large that Family Dollar is down the street, but their stores are typically a good bit larger than the Family Dollars, and lately here Dollar General is going a little larger in their square footage. I'm not sure exactly, and Travis, I don't know that we know that at this point, but they're typically in the 9,000 square foot range, and they're starting to go with the larger store, which is a 10,600 square foot store. And I think that's for more more grocery area, right, Travis?
That's correct. And the one in Crete, we did the design on that one. That was a pretty small site. I think that store was only 7,500 square feet, if I remember right.
Oh, that was 75. Yeah, that was a really small site, though.
Yep, that was a really tight site.
So this store potentially would be 2,000 to 3,000 square feet larger than Crete.
Okay. Awesome.
More groceries. That's cool. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Does anyone else have any other questions of the guys? Well, if not, that's very good. Then thank you so much, Hunter and Travis.
You're very welcome.
Continue your communication with the manager, and we look forward to seeing what happens in the future. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you all.
Thank you all for your time.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you for your patience for waiting on us.
Oh, sure. No
Thank you.
problem.
No problem.
Appreciate it. Hopefully we'll be back soon.
I'm
hope
waiting on
so.
you guys. Absolutely.
Take care.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Wait a minute, wait, I like to know, what could you do when you get here? What can you do for the village? Yeah,
He's the
enterprise zone,
developer.
you know, in enterprise zone. You know, donation to the village, enterprising.
That would be,
That's the
Uh,
developer.
he's the developer, Liz.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I know he's a developer.
I'm not sure.
I do know. Did he hear me? Can you hear me?
I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you and understand your question. I'm sorry.
I'm saying, what can you, like the enterprise, what would you bring to the village, you know? This is what I'm trying to explain it. I'm asking you, what would you bring to the village? You know, what type of enterprise would you bring to University Park? Other than the dollar store? General.
Well, for us, our mission, our one mission up here is just the Dollar General store for now. I mean, we'd love to do more, you know, obviously in the future, other clients. But right now up in Illinois, our primary client is Dollar General. Yeah.
What else can it
So-
possibly be?
Hmm?
What else can it possibly be for the village? Other stores?
Well, I think this
Well,
could, I mean, if I understand the question, I think this could attract other business, other national retailers, restaurants, perhaps. I mean, obviously Dollar General is a national retailer. They've got at least, I think, around 15,000 stores around the country. I mean, I think potentially it could attract more business,
Hmm,
if that's what you're asking.
that is.
Okay. I mean, I think it's a great start.
What are you wondering?
And like I said, we'd love to develop for others.
And trustee, this is Attorney Miller. I want to,
Normally in anchor to. What are you normally
sorry.
an anchor to?
so she's asking, are you guys normally a standalone store?
Yeah,
Are
we're-
you next, there are other businesses that are connected to you as well?
We're standalone only.
Okay, exactly. That's right. Thank you, attorney.
We're freestanding, yeah, freestanding, standalone.
Yeah, I think I think the motive or question is, just so if I'm understanding it correctly, is that not in regards to necessarily a donation, but what other businesses have you generally attracted that would see more coming into the village of University Park from your location there? Are there other types of businesses that you typically see come next to it? And I don't know if you know the answer to that or not in regards to, as a developer, but does the Dollar Generals, do they see an increase in business types or businesses in their areas once they come into, once they locate in the store? Is that,
Yes.
trustee, what you were getting at?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. I think in general, you know, as I mentioned, having a national retailer there, you know, brings a lot of credibility to the area, to the immediate area. So I think it could attract other national companies, you know, other retailers, restaurants, et cetera. But as to specific tenants, I probably couldn't answer that. Not sure. I think just
Thank you.
in general, seeing new development there with a national tenant like that certainly should help.
Okay, what's your normal
Help
car
attract
count?
other business.
What is your normal car counts at your business?
Oh gosh, I'd have to get back to you on that. I'm not sure.
I can look into some of that. We have done recent traffic studies on similar sized stores. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. I'd have to look.
They stay pretty busy.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Yeah,
If
Mayor,
no one
can I-
else, go
Yeah,
ahead.
Just a quick question of a clarification. Those are both the gentlemen are developers, correct?
Yes.
Okay, they're not with Dollar
No.
General.
No.
We're
Okay,
not with Dollar General.
No.
Yeah.
What they do, they're the people that Dollar General chooses to be their developer and just build their Dollar General stores in Illinois.
right. I just wanted to clarify.
Correct. Gotcha.
Right.
So some answers they would not have, right, Mayor?
Correct.
Am I correct? Some of those answers that was asked, they would not know directly because they're just strictly the developer.
That's correct, trustee.
Okay. All right. I yield my time, sir.
All right. Well, again, thank you, Travis. Thank you, Hunter, so much. We look forward to continued conversations, and prayerfully we'll be able to say welcome to the great village of University Park.
Thank you.
Thank you all again. Really appreciate the time.
Trustee, Chief Chelios, Neva, please.
He's connecting.
Are we there? Mayor, I think you're frozen. Oh, no, you're not. Okay, I apologize.
I'm just at a standstill. I'm not frozen.
He's connecting.
Okay, thank you. Chief Chelios. Hey, Chief, thank you so much for your extreme amount of patience. Greatly appreciate it. Because what you have to say is extremely important to not just us, but to our residents that are watching us. Chief, your show.
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Kind of muffled, but.
Hang on here. Let's see. Okay, that's full volume for me, so hopefully that works.
Does everybody hear Chief pretty well?
Nope.
No. Yeah, that's I am a little iffy.
Let's see. Microphone's on. Okay, I'm going to give this the best shot that I can, and hopefully everyone can hear what I'm saying. Otherwise, I don't know how else to fix this.
Well, just give it a shot, Chief. Give it the best you can do. We'll try to listen closely as we possibly can.
Okay, if this does not work out, I have everything that I have to talk about in written form that I can forward to the clerk afterwards. So it'll be on the record for everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, just a few bullet points I want to cover real quick regarding the numbers and the data as it relates to coronavirus. In general, everything in Illinois is much better now than it has been over the winter. Positivity rates have been holding steady at around 2.4% over the last 14 days. And even here locally in our village, you know, our percentage has been averaging just a touch over 4% now for almost the last 60 days. So it's looking a lot better than it has been. We even ran through a period of time about 2 weeks ago where we had almost a 10-day stretch with no new cases in the village, which was just incredible. Right now, we are at a total of 519 total cases, and that is out of about almost 6,300 tests that have been performed.
Ooh.
So we're doing okay in terms of the broader picture. Of course, there's been a lot of talk out there about all the different variants of this virus that are coming out. I just want to make sure everyone understands that, you know, all viruses mutate over time. You know, this is not something that is just new with COVID-19. So there's 3 that we know about that have originated in the United Kingdom, South Africa, and Brazil. And as of yesterday, all 3 of those variants have been detected here in Illinois. In terms of which county or zip code, I'm not able to determine that right now. But that we have a total of 88 variant cases. That sounds like a lot, but just looking at last week alone, it's not even 1% of, you know, the total case activity.
Hey, Chief, when you talk about the variant cases, you're just talking about the state overall, not specifically in our community, correct?
That's correct. These are statewide numbers that are reported to IDPH. So in order, the best, you know, defense we have against new cases and, you know, virus variants is vaccination. So as of about last week, there are now 3 vaccines available from Pfizer, Moderna, and now Johnson & Johnson. They vary in terms of dosage and storage. You know, for example, Pfizer and Moderna are 2-dose vaccines that have to be kept at really cold temperatures. The game changer of sorts with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is that's a 1-dose vaccine that can be kept at normal refrigeration. So that's what we're waiting to get out to, you know, Will County and other areas. But again, just like with the other 2, it's a supply issue. Right now, they cannot seem to make vaccines fast enough to get them out to the hospitals, the clinics, the pharmacies, and everywhere else that they're giving these vaccines out. So overall, you know, all of the data metrics are pointing in the right direction, and that's great news. But I also want to make it clear that we are just now getting back to where we used to be, you know, in August, before we had such a bad winter with this virus. So we're looking at hopefully vaccine supplies increasing shortly. The latest out of the White House was that, you know, by the end of May, you know, 2021, they're saying that a vaccine will be available for every adult in America, which is that's pretty good. That's pretty good progress. So as a state overall in Illinois, we're doing better than most. We rank 19th in the country in terms of active cases, which is good to be down, you know, that low and getting a handle on this. Now the not so good news is 3 of our neighboring states now rank in the top 10, which is Indiana, Missouri, and Kentucky. So as good as we're doing here, you know, we can only do as good as our neighbors do. So hopefully, you know, conditions will improve, you know, around our area here now that the weather's getting warmer and the cold is starting to go away. So what we're looking at coming up here in the short term for 2021, the state vaccination plan is still in phase 1A and 1B. Vaccine supply is something they're working on. And to give you an example of what they're dealing with, I spoke to Will County EMA this morning, and just today they got their shipment from last week. So they're trailing about 4 to 5 days now lag time waiting for these to show up. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine has been approved, but it has not yet made it to Will County. They're still waiting on that one to show up. There has been more and more vaccination sites popping up. Will County is trying to get several regional sites, stood up in the area, and they're trying to prep now for when more vaccine comes in, they'll be able to open up, up to plan more and move into phases 1C and phase 2. And there was talk of an Eastern Will County mass vaccination site. And this discussion began probably maybe close to a month or 2 months ago.
About a month and a half ago.
Yeah, and once we found out, we offered up our Unit 90 in Town Center as a potential space. After talking to Will County just this afternoon, it sounds like they are going to lean towards an alternate site that they found next door to us in the village of Monee. Right now, the site they're looking at, being told, was once occupied by Second Place Church, which is on Emerald Parkway off of Ridgeland, over by their Amazon warehouse over there by the expressway. So they're still going to try to open this new regional site by March 29th. It's still going to be by appointment only for the time being. They're not going to accept walk-ins right away. They don't yet know which vaccine they're going to have, but they are telling me that vaccines given at that location will be free of charge. And they're not going to be asking for any insurance information or anything like that. So this site in Monee, I don't know if it's a logistics issue. I mean, it kind of looks like that to me, because they're estimating they can move 2,000 vaccines through the Monee location a week. It's a big space, and when we think of church, we think of a small building, but this particular site, it looks like it was once a lightweight industrial building that was just occupied by a church. So they're estimating they have more space there to put together and sustain a longer operation, one that would not really, impact any of the other things in the village we want to do, over the course of this year with that space. So we're still going to keep, 90 town center space, in the mix. If something falls through with the site in Monee, I told Allison and everybody at Will County that I'll keep in touch with them, over the next few weeks to see how that's progressing, and if they may come back our way at a later date. So once the site gets up, I'll do my part to work with Nieva Jenkins to make sure the information on our website's accurate, that they know how to, use the registration process. One of the immediate challenges that I identified with Will County with, moving the site to a different village is transportation. That may be a challenge for us. So Will County is telling me that they're going to work through the Will Ride, Dial-A-Ride program to make sure that's available free of charge, to arrange, pickup and drop-offs for anyone that may need that. So also, there's the mass vaccination site that is also being in operation right now at the Tinley Park Convention Center. This one's a little tricky because, it says that Tinley Park site is open to all residents of Illinois. However, reports we're getting is that when you try to register it, it's asking specifically for a Cook County address. So we're trying to do what we can on our end to see if that can get corrected. And then, if any changes come up, we'll make sure we get that information out to the public. So that's the bulk of my report. I have my typical weekly briefing. It's ready. It's going to be sent out email tomorrow morning and Wednesday, like it always is.
Thank you, Chief.
That's got the bulk of the other data. So that's all I have for you this evening. Anyone has any questions for me?
No, I don't have any questions, but I do have a comment. And my comment is that Moni is close, and it's a destination, and it's a location that may be tentative for everybody else. But I'm going to still advocate and continue to fight for a location here in the village of University Park.
Thank you.
Every single time that I look at the news, I listen to the radio and I read the papers, they talk about how the Black and brown community are the most highest at risk. So why in the hell wouldn't they want to put a vaccination site in the center of the only African-American community in Eastern Will County? So we're going to continue to advocate.
Yes,
I know
we
that
are.
the manager has been advocating for a location. I've with the Will County Government League have been advocating for a location where whether it's 90 Town Center, to me, Governor State seems like the idealistic location with multiple buildings. Secondly, the 201U High School with multiple auditoriums and a closed high school. So I'm going to continue to advocate. But the main goal is to ensure that everybody who wants the shot can get the shot. So if Monique is the final destination, so be it. But does not mean that we're going to stop and not continue to advocate and fight for locations here in University Park. And that's my only comment.
Ma'am, I'll be right back.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, actually, right quick, man, what happened to Operation Warp Speed? Did it just die away after Trump left office? What? Because they were supposed to set up something there by that by the car wash.
Yeah.
We were all set and everything, and I was waiting to see when was it going to happen, because it seemed like we went the whole 9 yards, voted for the lease and everything, and all of a sudden it's like it disappeared overnight. So every time they start talking about, I'm with you, every time something, you're looking at TV and I'm saying, well, when is University Park going to get what we actually took action on?
Right.
Did they, so what, did they back out or something, the government, or what?
And I'll give you my understanding, and maybe Ms. E might have input. From my understanding is that when they approached us, the group, is that was going to be a trial vaccination, a trial site location.
Okay.
So they were going to do the clinical trials.
Okay.
Soon after we did the process and we were receiving those guys, that Moderna and Pfizer came out with the vaccinations, and the clinical trials were eliminated.
He just lost it.
Right. So it was our goal. So since they had chose this location, that they would transform it from a clinical trial location to a vaccination location.
Right.
So, and I know that we've asked the manager, and she's contacted the person that reached out to us, and we've been in communication, but they haven't given us a yay or a nay. So they haven't given us anything.
But we've talked with them.
Yeah, and Mayor, I believe you're correct. That's exactly what happened. The Warp Speed was for the development of the vaccine and the trials. When you guys did it, then they started approving vaccines. So there was no need for you to have a Warp Speed site. So
it's almost,
I think
so they just
it's almost like the private sector took away the opportunity we had to have something happen here at University Park.
Yeah, because the good thing, the federal government, they gave us the award. They awarded them. Yeah, we awarded everything. But like Attorney Miller said, when Warp Speed was cut out and the vaccination started rolling out, the trials just stopped, and the communication stopped for a while. But I was constantly on the manager, and you guys were constantly calling me, and we're just trying to find out what our status was, because I got to say this about everybody. Our concern was about our residents and that University Park, but the Southland region as well. So that's basically what happened.
Okay. Chief Chelios, I got two questions for you. I want to know, how bad are the cases now that you're responding to? Are the cases that you're responding to, are they more of small symptoms, or are they more serious? Are people more attentive in University Park of the seriousness of the virus, that someone may think they have a small cold and they're sitting around until they feel that at some point, okay, maybe I do have COVID, and then you all come and it's almost like they can't breathe or something. So if you can give me a little input on that.
would say on average, most of the EMS calls we get, they are very mild in nature. Sometimes we don't know for certain that a person has coronavirus until we transport them, they get evaluated, then they get tested, then their results come in, and then the hospital notifies us. That seems to be the bulk of our response is we have to treat, every scenario that we find that matches any of those symptoms. We have to assume that they're positive and follow our protocols in that manner. We also have times where, people take themselves to their doctor or they check themselves into the hospital. Then we get them a few days later because their instructions are if your symptoms get worse, call 911 and request, transport to the emergency room. So if we take, an average block of 10 patients in the field, maybe 2 out of every 10 are experiencing real serious symptoms.
Okay. Would you say that the recent, and I think everyone is watching tonight, and maybe Chief, you can help with this because I'm watching with the new guidelines that's given since the vaccination has come out. Would you say UP, based upon, you being the fire chief and really, your guys really work hard with our community to make sure they're taken care of on these ambulance calls, but just say they should not loosen up these regulations. Like maybe they should take it a little bit more serious and wear a mask compared to another community where the outbreak is not as bad and they are, loosening up on regulations. But here in UP, because I know I'm seeing some residents still have a mask, but then I'm beginning to see some that are out there without one. So would you say that we should still, as a community, still practice the CD, the CDC guidelines more carefully until, I would say everybody's really vaccinated?
Yeah, that's a very good point. Vaccinations are only part of the strategy right now. It's very, very important to continue to wear the mask when you're out in public, wash your hands on a regular basis, and a safe distance as often as possible. Myself, I received my vaccine already, and I still practice those steps because there's still not enough people out there that have been vaccinated yet. And even though I have been, it's still my responsibility as a person to make sure I am doing everything I can to protect those around me that may have not had the chance to get a vaccine yet. Or there may be those, within our community that will not be able to get one for some, medical reason, of some kind. So it's important to, stay the course. The president's message when he was elected was, mask up for 100 days for his first 100 days in office. And we know that it's not going to be until May before we have, enough vaccine supply to cover everyone. So that's still, yes, we're coming up in mid-March, but that is still a long ways away yet.
Mayor, can I be recognized?
It's very important that we still continue to do everything we can as a group, as a community, to keep setting that example for how everyone else should be doing it. It's one of these things where it's individual responsibility as much as it is, a government's responsibility to enact all of these, regulations and everything. So it's up to us, to keep it up. Our numbers show that, there's only one other zip code in Will County that I keep data on that has fewer cases than us, so we've been doing the part, you know, almost for an entire year now. So it would be silly to give up now that we've come this far. You know, we just got a little bit far to go.
So that's like a positive thing though that you just said. Like it's like we may have, cases, but only one zip code fewer than us. So that's almost like a good thing that University Park is paying attention. So that's kind of like a great thing.
Absolutely it is.
All right. I like to hear that.
Mayor, can I be recognized?
Trustee McMullen, yes, sir.
Yes, Chief Chelios, which vaccination did you get? Which company did you go with? And how did you feel afterwards?
It just so happens that I was able to receive the vaccine from Pfizer. I did not have a preference. I was going to get vaccinated with whatever the hospital had when I got the opportunity. So Pfizer was 2 doses. I got my first one back on December 21st. And then my second one was on January 11th, I believe. Both times I got the vaccination, I had a very, a very mild set of symptoms from it. I had, arm soreness because let's face it, someone stuck you with a needle, so it's gonna hurt. And then I felt kind of just general, just tiredness after the first one. Second one, later on in January, same arm pain as the first one. And then I just had a little bit of soreness in my shoulders and back for like 12 hours. So
it should be important. Oh, I'm sorry, Chief. I thought you were done. I apologize.
Go ahead.
No, it should be important to note just for the citizens and for the board. For the most part, you don't really get to choose what vaccine you take unless you are aware of a site that's per se has the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. As a general rule, unless you hear like, oh, X is doing this vaccine and you can try to register. But if you go to a site, generally they're doing one vaccine type and they don't have necessarily both types. So you don't necessarily, the way it's set up with the counties, you don't necessarily get to choose what vaccine you want. So that's just something to be aware of. So really the recommendation is that if you get an opportunity to vaccine, you just take it, whatever one it is. Don't worry about what kind it is. But I know that's a question I've heard at a lot of board meetings. People are like, oh, I want to take the X vaccine. You won't get that choice. It's just like if you, like, for example, there are actually several types of vaccines for children for the childhood diseases. And really, sometimes it just depends on what supply is. So just want you guys to be aware that you don't necessarily get that option and everything. So that you should be aware of that.
All right, well, thank you, Tony Miller. And Chief Chelios?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, listen, I'm gonna ask, we're finished with the vaccination part, but since we have Chief Wilson and since you're here already, I'm just gonna ask, out of a courtesy to our Chief of Police, can we just make another amendment and just move this up regarding the speed bumps and traffic in the community up one spot on the agenda? Because we have no other presenters that are gonna be joining us. So let's give those people the opportunity to get to bed. Those are our first responders. We want them fully rested and battle tested.
So we don't need another. The one motion that you made, the minutes reflect, that was a motion to amend the agenda. So you've amended the agenda now. You just allow the Chief Chelios to go ahead with his second presentation.
Okay, well, we're going to let Chief Chelios, now we're going to ask Chief Wilson to join us as well. And the item that we'll be talking about in this committee meeting is speed cameras and high-speed areas and residential areas within the community. Okay. All right, Chief. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for your patience. And I just had to move things fast. So the discussion tonight is regarding speed bumps versus speed cameras and residential areas where there have been noted citations of speeding and endangering the people, our young people in the community. So I know that there was talk about speed bumps, and I know that the fire chief was adamantly against speed bumps because as a first responder, and the police department maybe as well, because as a first responder, they want to have the cleanest, fastest access without obstruction to any site of an emergency. So there were some speed camera companies that has approached myself, and the chief is gonna work with those people down the line. So we want to start a discussion to let the residents know that their concerns have not fallen on deaf ears. And we want to have an open forum regarding areas that have been noted for speeding. So what are we going to do with speed bumps or look at speed cameras? Me personally, I like the speed cameras because it gives us, for one, and it gives us video evidence on who the car is and the license plate. And for two, it brings an additional source of revenue to the community. So the floor is open. This is the discussion. Chief Wilson, Chief Chelios, any comments regarding speed cameras versus speed bumps in areas, high speed areas?
All right, good evening, everybody. There's a couple things. I mean, there's benefits to both, you know, as you said that we want to have the easiest route to get there. One of the benefits though of the speed humps, besides the point that we've already purchased them, is that they're going to ensure that people slow down. You won't have a choice but to slow down. Versus the other one, yeah, we will be getting revenue. However, it's not going to slow somebody down or prevent some damage from occurring or prevent from something from happening. A lot of times when someone contacts the police, they're already gone and they're speeding through there. There may have been a child in the street. There may have been an animal in the way. So there's pros and cons to both. I think that the placement of them is going to be key. I don't see why we wouldn't be able to use both of them. But like I said, there's pros and cons to both. It will slow down the police and the apparatus on their way to and from calls, you know, depending on where they're placed. But one good feature, and I don't know which camera company that you're looking at or what the things that are going along with it as far as what type of contract and so forth, if we have to have a certain amount of revenue come through there before we're charged. There's all different kinds that are made up. Also, I do know that at least with the speed humps, then they will make you slow down. You know what I mean? And that's the point of it is to slow down.
And one of the things I did hear about the humps, man, it's gonna tear up my car. It's gonna cause damage. I got a low ride. I got a Corvette. So those were some of the things I'm hearing from residents, and that's why we're here tonight, to just have an open forum and discussion to make the best decision for our residents. Board members, any comments or opinions on Trustee Franklin?
Can I be recognized, Dr. Franklin?
Yes, sir.
So thanks for offering that perspective, because that just opened my eyes up to some things that I didn't think about. I really like the point that the speed bumps will actually make people slow down. Me and my wife were some of the people that have been complaining about the speeding throughout our community. So we're definitely looking forward to a resolution. The question that I have is, can the cameras be placed into the actual neighborhoods, or would that be more like on University Parkway or the main streets, Western? And also, would the cameras be the type of cameras that take a picture and send a ticket?
Well, Trustee Franklin, for what I know, there are a variety of them, and they're going to be in communication with Chief Wilson after tonight, and she'll give her recommendation moving forward. From what I'm thinking that they're going to be placed in the residential areas where the chief of police has noted that there has been incidents of high speed traffic in that area. So, and they would take a video camera and they will have a license plate and can issue a ticket all at the same time. You're correct on that aspect. Yes.
Over here on Amherst,
So with that,
It-
I'm just thinking because typically cameras are put on more busier streets. So I like the idea of being able to put them in the residential neighborhoods. I think that'd be awesome. As a resident with young children, this is a concern of mine. So, I don't know. I kind of understand both sides. Also, I recognize that there's been a lot of scrutiny around cameras in the news. So I just want to make sure whatever approach we take, we're taking the most strategic approach, and realizing that it'll probably be our residents that will have to fit the bill for these tickets. But at the same time, there's a responsibility to drive the speed limit while you're riding through the community. So it's a couple different ways to look at it.
And let me just say something
Wait
about the cameras.
Manager, give me 1 second. Let Trustee McMullen go, then I'll come back with you. Trustee McMullen.
Oh, Chief Wilson, I really appreciate your perspective on this, and whatever you decide, I'm with you, because you seem to have all the answers in reference to the bumps as opposed to the cameras. I think we need a combination of the two. That's just my opinion, and I'm all for it. So, but I will go by your recommendation. Totally.
Well, thank you. Because I think there could be a need for both. Because like I said, there's a lot of places where we're experiencing a very high volume of accidents that where the primary contributor is speed. So if we can slow that down by unfortunately sending out a few tickets ahead of time, those are in the faster paced streets, of course, like on Governor's Highway. We get numerous accidents over there. Western, they're zipping along, but the humps in the residential area where you have kids playing, where you have animals crossing and so forth, and people are doing those types of things. They don't want people zipping through their neighborhoods, and potentially endangering lives, whether it be the children or animals or whatever. But on the other hand, like I say, there's going to be some precautions that the apparatus and the police will have to take. Now, the ones that we did purchase already, those are removable. So they would be put down for the season in the summer months, and then they come up so that they won't interfere with the snowplow. So they actually drill down into the street, and they're pretty indestructible. There's nothing that's going to tear them up. Now, Mayor Rudez, one of the things that you had said is they'll tear your cars up. Now, keep in mind that these are not the speed bumps. These are speed humps. I know that there's a little bit of a difference.
Okay.
It's not real sharp. It's a smooth, as long as you slow down. If you try to fly over it, yeah, you're going to mess up the bottom of your car. But if you go over it at the speed limit, then it's just going to be, it's not going to be too bad. Because they are pretty smooth. If you'd like to see them, I'm sorry, if anybody would like to see them, you can come over. They are in our garage right now.
Trustee McMullen, I'll second what you said, and I'm going to trust the leadership of Chief Wilson on this. I think that she just made a good point about them being removable, because I also had a concern about the snow plows in the winter. So I'm going to trust the decision of Chief Wilson on this one.
Okay, so we're going to go to Manager E, and then we're going to come back to Chief Chelios, because there's going to be an opposite side of that coin from the fire chief. Come on, Manager E.
The chief and I have talked about a series of that, and we've been talking about the types of camera. The types of cameras now have become so sophisticated. They aren't just one that'll look for speeding. They're those peripheral cameras that you put them on the pole, and they can do the peripheral vision of where it is. It can be not only for speed, it can begin to get at some of the issues with crimes and other kinds of things. So she'll not only be able to deal with the speeds, but she can go back, like in some cases, how folk now utilize Ring, and you may have to ask a neighbor to see their Ring camera to see really what's going on. If we get the type, and the type we're talking about is being produced right there in Calumet Park by a minority company, and there are some credits, incentives given for the village to have this done. And she would determine who, what, when, where, and how, but it would serve as speed. And I have to agree with her that the humps should remain. The humps are going to remain. Some people feel if they're just coming through and visiting, and they may have a hot rodder, they may zoom. But if the camera is there, not only will it get at them to slow down once they go zoop over that hump, we also got a picture there that can tell us a license plates, and you could mail a ticket. You could go after it, you know. And the fact that today I was just briefly talking to the chief, and I'll not go into the discussion, but I tell you, there are some unusual kinds of crimes that are beginning to happen in University Park. And the courts are demanding, and I hear it from her all the time, demanding proof
Video
in order
evidence.
to consummate some of these things. So these peripheral cameras, these humps can begin to get at it as a start. So
Yeah, and
that's
you know
my
what?
opinion, and you know.
And some of them also have the a unique ability to have the shot spotters that you can identify exactly where gunshots are coming from. So we're going to do our very best through good conversation and working collaboratively to ensure that every single resident knows that we're doing our best to ensure that the safety is not just of them, their guests, their business, their family, and our most precious senior citizens and our young people. So here we go, Fire Chief. It's on you, because I know you got the other side of the coin.
Yes, my primary concern would be, you know, slowing down responding apparatus, but realistically, the locations that are being considered for these speed humps are, it sounds, predominantly residential neighborhoods, and we really cannot travel that fast through those areas anyway. You know, whether it's parked vehicles or kids on bicycles or whatever it is, we have to be extremely cautious when we go in there, even with the little ones that like to come running out towards the curb because they hear sirens coming, you know. So it's yeah, speed humps are more preferred. Now speed bumps, yes, I would have more of an issue with those because we have to come to almost a complete stop to get over a speed bump. So
okay.
I do have one, really the only concern we would have is when they're installed, and especially if they get moved around the village at all, just knowing ahead of time where they're at, so my personnel know and we can prepare our drivers. That's
we can navigate through the system. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Trustee Brooks.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, Chief, I understand about them speed humps and I tell you, they have some at 155th and Marshfield. You better not go over 20 miles per hour. It's going to set up your squad car. So, no, I know about that. But yes, I just wanted to give my input. I come from the generation of speed humps, bumps, like Wilson. We, you know, the camera, they usually stick us somewhere if it's in reference to speed, and they'll stick us somewhere and just let us run radar all day. But I am very in support of the speed cameras. And for this one, I would say, in my mind, if I was to just give my perspective of where it would be, and I had anything to do legislative wise in reference to this, I would have like the speed cameras out like somewhere around the Coretta Scott King, or over as you come down come down Exchange. A lot of people are going faster than what they should be, especially at night. Believe it or not, when the golf course was letting out, there were quite a few. An officer told me that people would come flying down our street that says, was it 35 through there? They're doing like 60, like easy, because they feel that no one is catching them in University Park. So I think that would be beneficial. Another spot would be on Western. Everyone likes to run that light at Western. In fact, my sister was a victim of a car accident right there at Exchange and Western, maybe about, what was that, 5-6 years ago, from somebody who literally just did not want to take their foot off the gas. So if you want to use the perspective of how the camera would, help in those general areas, I think that it would at least have those residents coming through our town, respect the speeds of our town, especially in my vision of seeing University Parkway becoming more business atmosphere through our next, decade here. Speed bumps, I would say, in my opinion, if you have residents that have been complaining, like Trustee Franklin, yeah, I think around in your community, your little section there, if this is just me, in my opinion, I've seen it where someone come up in your section, they know it's one way in, it's like a horseshoe. Well, some people just so doggone impatient, they go flying in one way and they fly right on out, and it's like they take a disregard to your home, your kids that's out there. So that's just my opinion, especially when you have a group of residents that are steady complaining of speeding down a certain block, and the police just can't be everywhere, that we definitely would put up a speed bump or hump. And I think we should take the idea from Chief Chelios too as well, because as officers, once you get a speed bump somewhere, Chief Wilson will tell you, you got some bonehead that is ready, whether it's a stolen car or trying to get out of a ticket or think the police officer seen them, they always put the hammer down in a very small street, fly through, and they may tear up their car, but at least the officer knows that, hey, on that street, there's a speed bump. You know what? Bad guy is gonna, he's gonna wipe out his brakes and axles right here. So it is a beneficial thing too, also when it comes to activity in a certain block or section of our community.
Okay.
Well, and I will say that any type of camera, many of you may have noticed some of the poles and that have been going up around various locations in the village. I'll kind of discuss the locations offline with any of you if you'd like to hear them, but we do have
absolutely offline.
Right.
Yeah. Do have some license plate readers going in to help us, to aid us, because we can't be everywhere. Just to give you an example, just in the past 2 weeks, we've had 3 pursuits. Okay, and that gets very dangerous, especially with the police reform changing that has just come out. Cameras are everything. We have to have proof and be able to catch them. We'll also be able to connect with the other villages, because all the surrounding villages are getting them as well. So we'll be able to tag into theirs, they'll be able to tag into ours, and we'll be able to work collectively at this. So it's going to aid us in that way, because everybody's experiencing shortages.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other trustees have any questions or comments regarding the speed bump?
I'll make a final comment. Thank you, Chief Wilson. This is a very good conversation. I thought we were just talking about speed, but we actually got some good dialogue around reducing crime and other things in the community. So I guess essentially increasing or adding cameras is technically adding manpower to the police force. It offers additional eyes, not ears, but eyes, which is powerful.
Credible eyes to the court system.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Ms. E, for letting us know that you guys are looking at cameras that are multi-purpose, because I think that's something that's a game changer. So this is exciting, and I thank you all for the presentation and providing the information today.
Mayor, can I just say one final thing? We also are looking to get recertified from the state based on the 2020 census. And if we can get that, we can get some assistance. We've already been battling with ComEd to get us recertified. They're using 2019 census, and we're trying to get them to use 2020 census to have that economic impact. And we're anticipating in May to hear it. And if that's the case, that's our answer. We can get them.
Awesome. That's
May I
beautiful.
be recognized?
Trustee Williams, Trustee Williams.
Yes.
Well, you
I
must have
just
seen me
say,
today.
I'm sorry, I didn't see you, Trustee.
I would, I would like to say to Chief, I really appreciate you thinking about this village the way you do, because you do a good job. And I do feel that both of this, the
Thank
bump
you.
and the camera, should be here. I need my time.
Chief Chelios, Mayor,
Trustee
may I be
Bolden?
recognized?
Trustee Bolden.
Can I go to
Then
sleep?
Trustee
Bolden, that's
Sonia.
you.
Because
See you.
Trustee Sonia be making motions like she in the auction. I don't know if she making a question.
All I was going to say is I too agree that we probably should have both of them. And also, I don't know if Amherst is one of those streets that you're going to put the bump, because my concern is there's 3 cars or 1 white one. I have actually stood in my driveway and just kind of try to stop him, and I'm never able to get the license plate. But my concern is in the summer at this tot lot over here with all the babies over here, and it's a stop sign there too, and they just run right through it like it's not there. So I didn't know if Amherst was a possibility or something to think about when you're placing these speed. But I'm in total agreement with both of them as well, Deborah. You're doing a great job. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Mayor, can I be recognized?
No, Trustee Sonia. Trustee Sonia's been waiting for a minute now. What are you trying to get me in trouble, man? What the heck's going on?
I just wanted to take the time to thank the chief for everything that she does for the community. Every time I call her, she's Johnny on the spot. You know, we have speeders going up Circle Drive for some strange reason. I couldn't believe how fast they were going. And I called her and she had an officer sitting out there. I call him Ticket Master. I will not reveal his name. He is totally on it, and they hate to see him come. So I would just not say his name. But when I tell you he does very good revenue, he's really good at it. So they've kind of slowed down on Circle Drive. But I just wanted to take the time to thank the chief for all that she does for us. She does so much. You would not believe everything that she does.
Thank you so
She
much.
makes sure that we're safe, our children are safe. You know, my dad, that the officers know my dad, he's starting to walk around through the neighborhood now. So they make sure he gets back safe. So I am so grateful to you, and happy National Women's Month. You know, we have history with you. I'm so grateful here in the county.
You as well.
Say, do your thing, because we're going to stand firm behind you.
Mayor, can I be recognized?
Yes, sir, Trustee McMullen.
I would like to thank Chief Chelios and Chief Wilson for their participation tonight, and like their input on the speed humps and the cameras and everything that pertains to our village. I really think that we made a great decision promoting them both. I think we made a wonderful decision. And when I go to work, I feel safe when I go to work because they're in charge, all right? They're in charge. And I think we made a wonderful decision of making them chiefs.
We're going to get more cars. We're going to go get a manpower. We're going to get our ESDA unit. We're going to build this town up, and we're going to do our very best to make sure that every resident feels extremely safe in their home and inviting people into our community. Because we are a middle-class African-American community on the rise, and I look forward to the great progress that we're all going to make moving forward. So if that's it for Chief Chelios and Chief Wilson, if anybody else has any questions.
Yeah, quick question, Mayor. Would this be the same company? I think you and I spoke long ago. I had got an email where some of the towns now have this. They have
on the poles.
Yes. Is this connected to that same company? Because I think that would be beneficial too.
Well, Chief Wilson has a hat probably with about 8 to 9 companies that she'll have dialogue with, and her and the manager, and they'll work out, and they'll bring it to us, and they'll see whichever one works out in the best interest for the community, and we'll make that decision, and preferably before the spring and everything starts opening up and people get vaccinated and more people are flowing throughout, that we'll have mechanisms in place. And the last place that they're going to do speeding or committed crime will be in the Village of University Park.
And
Yeah, 'cause-
preferably be able to seek those funds. Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I think I even spoke to you, Miss E, about it with the, but the reason why I say that is that the one reason why I'm glad that the trustees seen the point, and actually anybody listening, that's what you want your legislators to do. I'll tell you that when I went to Country Club Hills, when I left Harvey to go to Country Club Hills, the first hiring, I'll say this, that we were at a point where the city of Country Club Hills had to decide between a camera and one police officer. And of course, naturally, I was going to be their youth officer, but it shows you that towns do come a long way as a legislator, and the city council at that moment chose the camera, and which it didn't bother me, because what it meant was that my hiring was going to be 6 to 9 months later. But the point that I'm making is that when you have a board that's making a decision like this, what it's reflective is that like Trustee Franklin and Trustee McMullen and everyone that's agreeing with these, having both Trustee Williams, that it shows that the town is demonstrating a proactive approach towards this, in which I would say it is a problem. And the one reason why I mentioned Blackhawk was because some people do have the tendency to come around that school when everyone is coming out, and they just totally ignore the kids. I think it's another situation. I think I know what Trustee Bolden is talking about, the white car. I was out walking on Blackhawk about Olmsted. That same white car blew a stop sign. I think I told Wilson, it blew a stop sign like at 70 miles per hour. Didn't stop. It didn't stop at all. And the gentleman on Blackhawk said, man, this is all day long. So I'm just glad that, the whole board is as a whole, just see how beneficial that the both. And so, yes, Chief Wilson, that's why you are Chief. Chief Chelios, yes, I'm quite sure you don't want to tell no ambulance and come back and see Miss E. Mr. Mayor, I yield my time.
Thank you. So if that's it, thank you so much, Chief, for waiting up for us and being patient. Thank you, Fire Chief, for being at home and waiting on us as well. And we'll look forward to the continued dialogue. And before the weather breaks, we'll have a solution and we'll be moving forward. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Debbie. We appreciate you.
Thank you all.
And thank you, residents, for being patient with us, because it did not fall on deaf ears.
Right.
Okay. All right. Our next item. So I'm going to do something a little different. So there are two things left on the item. We've got a resolution that we want to talk about community benefits and summer youth and senior programs. So which one, guys, do you want to deal with first? Okay.
Mayor, this is Joe Miller. Maybe I want to address with a resolution because I may make it a quicker discussion for you guys.
Oh, sure.
So for your resolution in regards to the community development plans, I'd like to, because I just saw the resolution today. That was the first. For some reason, I didn't see it in the Dropbox. And then thank you, Madam Clerk, for sending it out. I'd like to maybe make some slight revisions, just so that I want it to be clear that it's not a quid pro quo, meaning that if they don't have something, they're automatically out of it. Because I'm just a little worried that the language that I read, indicated maybe I was concerned about a little bit of quid pro quo. I definitely don't think there's an issue with once you have a contractor in, talking to them about what their community development plans are and what they have, what they have going on. I just want to make sure that it's clear that it's not a requirement, but that businesses will need to show some sort of a plan. And one of the things the board, you guys may want to think about is this: do we want to develop our own type of plan that we say, hey, this is something that we have in play? That's some thoughts on it, but in regards to it, I definitely think there's something we could do. When I read it, I want to make sure that no business is thinking, this is a quid pro quo. And quite honestly, for you members as board members, I don't want businesses thinking like, oh, if I give to Trustee Joe Miller's thing, then I've got his vote or something like that. So I want to make sure that we have those concerns out of the way. Obviously, this is your decision as a board on how you guys want to do it, but that's the only concern I had about it. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Okay. Okay. Yes, ma'am. I see it. Go ahead, trustee.
You see me now?
Yes.
Thank you, Attorney Miller. That was one of my main concerns as well. When I first saw this, I had mentioned to the mayor, you make sure that the attorneys look this over before we go any further with this. But I didn't know anything about the quick pro, but that's probably a good idea. So I'm glad that I had you look through this, because that was one of my main concerns, that we just don't throw this, in on our contracts. We want them in here, but maybe like he said, we can tailor it for University Park. So that was my issue as well. So thank you. Because I had mentioned that to the mayor as well.
Yeah, and just for anyone that's viewing and for everybody here, what the discussion was a community benefits resolution or ordinance. And what's happened in the community before is that we will be glad to have big businesses come in and they will be looking forward to it. We'll give them a great deal, a TIF deal. And they said that they're going to be good community partners.
We're always giving away the store.
Yeah, but in the history, that has not occurred. So if there's some rules or some guidelines that we have in place, because we're just encouraging corporate partnership. We want to have good citizens. We don't want to be separate from our residents, from our businesses. We want to be a community in the whole.
Yeah, I agree everything you say, Mayor, because and like some of the questions I thought you guys were asking earlier of the Dollar General developer, I think is appropriate. I think it's appropriate to find out what's the history of these companies. If you look up some of these companies, and you may find that they have complete unequal treatment. So you guys are 100% on the right track and everything in regards to making sure that your community's needs and interests are served. So I don't want you guys to think that I'm against it at all. I just want to make sure that it can't be construed that it's a pay to play type of thing, that they
absolutely not. Yeah, and Joe, and just give me 1 second, Trustee. And Joe, that's some of my old skills in writing resolutions and laws that was implemented in that. And it was just to stir up a discussion again, because we're not giving away the house anymore. Right. We're going to be a good corporate citizen in this community, University Park, and we can have a fantastic growth opportunity. So, and even when it comes to contracts as well, I'm not going to sit here as the mayor and continue to say, well, every time that there's a construction project, we don't have any Black and brown people as contractors or hold these easy to sign. It's not going to happen anymore, as long as we have the ability to set certain parameters, certain things in place, so they know when they come to University Park, we just want participation. And there's got to be the qualified people, qualified contractors, qualified laborers, or whatever it is. But it's not going to happen anymore where they just come into town and you see everybody holding the poles. And my residents say, well, damn, where'd they come from? Yeah. Who are they? That ain't going to happen no more. So we must have fair representation for when it comes to contracting, new development, and everything. So that's the whole purpose of a community benefits conversation, to see in which direction we want to go, to stir the conversation, to come up with a resolution. So when people come to University Park, well, that's a great community. We already know that this is what they expect, and we're willing to be participants. And we're just going to continue moving forward. Trustee Liz Williams.
Yes, I'd like to say that I would like for us to let the residents be a part of this, because they live here, they have kids here, and I think that they should have a voice. I think that somehow that we should open up a meeting so that they can come and be involved. Like we could, space out and seen different municipalities. They got 6 inches apart, 6 feet apart, the chairs and everything. They only got so many residents can come in at one time, and they 6 feet apart also. So they live here. We all live here. We residents as well as we workers. So I think that we should all get together and, do this together, because they have a say. So they have kids, they live here too. So I feel that they should be heard.
Okay. Any other comments?
Everybody else agree with me?
Yeah. Any other comments about
yeah.
any? And I know you guys might. I got this trustee Sonia. I know that you guys might have got the language a little bit late, but there's an opportunity to go in there, and as Attorney Miller had an opportunity to look through it. Just look at there. There's some things you have questions about or things you want to inquire about. Look at it, because this is it's an open forum, it's an open dialogue. But I feel that we should have something in place, because what you guys, there's a lot of things getting ready to happen this spring and summer in University Park, and we really should have these things in place before those shovels start going in the ground. Because once those shovels start going in the ground, it's kind of hard to go back and revisit that. So let's look at the ordinance, let's look at the resolution, and we'll have dialogue. And as Attorney Miller makes the changes, I would ask that you send it out to the clerk, and we'll disseminate it to the Board of Trustees, and they have questions, we can move forward from there.
Yeah, I'll get you guys something I'll send something to the to Madam Clerk on Friday. I have a couple other meetings the next couple of days, but I'll get her something by Friday, and then she can send it to you guys.
All right. Trustee Sonia Jenkins.
Yeah.
And then Madam Clerk next.
Okay, I'm listening to what Trustee Liz is saying in reference to the residents having some say in what's going on in the meeting of the CAL. Now, I'm looking at this situation and I'm saying to myself, we're meeting together with the 7 of us and discussing the different things that are going on with the community, but we're not allowing them to chat in or have any input. I'm not saying that it's not anything in place that will allow them to make a comment on what it is that they want to make a comment on, but we have to also take into consideration that we need to open up the chat, so the residents, if they want to chat in and ask us a question about what is being said or presented like it's being presented right now, they should have that opportunity to do so, and we can answer their question and not wait to a later date or after the fact, because they may feel like this is I think this is a really good thing, but they might want to say, yeah, this is a really good thing. So, I don't get what we're doing. I mean, and watching CNN today, and I'm not gonna stay politically correct. I'm gonna say what I want to say. And watching CNN today, and watching how the Republicans are starting to infringe upon our voting rights and different things like that, I am not in agreement with not allowing these residents to have a voice in what it is that we're doing on this board. It's not right. And it's not just, and it's not fair. Now, we have to legislate, but we also have to listen. It's called democracy. And that's all I have to say. I give my time.
Madam Clerk?
Oh, I was about to ask, so are we moving forward with this resolution to the next meeting, or are we waiting for additional input?
I would say if it's the pleasure of the board to move forward with the additional changes that Attorney Miller has, and the board would have an opportunity to review it prior to. I mean, we've got a whole week in between, so it's up to the board.
I just want to, Mayor, just clarification. Trustee Williams, you were talking about a workshop. Was that what you were asking that we should do as a board?
Yeah, we can have a workshop. It could be just like we having tonight, meeting at a whole. They should be able to be here to give their opinion. That's what I'm saying. They live here too. They're residents.
They're taxpayers. They're not just residents, they're taxpayers.
That is a resident, yes, taxpayers.
Well, unless I'm misinformed, the residents are tuning in on YouTube Live. And they can, excuse me, and they can send in their questions or comments while this is going on, and Neva can send them to us.
Okay.
So and that's the way it's always been since we've been
But I'm saying that I think that they feel better to be here just like we are here. I mean, we're not here. It'd be better if they can be seen. Like I said, there are people, they're 6 feet apart from each other. I don't see nothing wrong with that.
Well, we might do it virtually, trustee, no
Since the
problem.
government has already lifted it so that we should be, so why
Trustee
aren't we?
Williams, the government has not listed, we're still
Not
under
lifted.
open meeting.
But my question is this, if they're meeting down in the state in Springfield, what is wrong with us?
We trying to stay safe.
I don't get it.
Yep.
You
Well, I
got
thought-
50 people,
Hey.
you got 50 people in a restaurant
50
eating
people in
with
the
their
room
masks off.
eating.
You know, this is
So what is
crazy.
our score?
And they spraying COVID too.
Well, okay, I guess we're gonna be scared to live for the rest of our life. I guess that's the way it's gonna go.
Well, you know what? I say
I guess
everything.
we just gonna on everybody's rights and just stand on their rights and say, oh, well, we're gonna do it our way like Frank Sinatra. I guess that's what we're gonna do it our way.
Well, we have somebody standing at the door with the gun to take the temperature when they're coming in.
I know, where did I go today and they took my temperature to
Me
somewhere.
too.
We go to the grocery store. Did anybody stop eating?
All right, but the agenda item is about this community benefits. That's the agenda item. Trustee Brooks?
Mayor, well, I guess because we have two trustees that I'm assuming they want to have a workshop with the public.
I'll be glad to do a virtual workshop.
Yeah. Okay, okay.
Wonderful. Okay.
I'll be glad to. I'm never going to isolate the public, first of all, for one thing. Never, ever. And for right now, as long as we're under this thing, and we're going to move forward. We'll get back to the public meetings and the in-person meetings. Right now, there's a lot of going on. We got a flood at 90 Town Center. We haven't set up the
That was my next question. Right. 90 Center been flooded, right?
Yeah, the whole complex got flooded because of busted pipes and everything. We're busting our tail to make sure that it's open and ready for election day. So it's not that we're not going back to public meetings. We're definitely going back to public meetings. But let's take our time. Let's be smart about it. Let's plan strategically. Let's make sure that the building is right. Let's make sure that the right parameters are there. Because one thing for sure, we don't want to have anyone have a illness or sickness and die from a COVID. So we're going to do our very best, residents, to ensure that you're completely informed and engaged. And I look forward to seeing people again in public. So it's not falling on deaf ears, just like the speed bumps and the speed camera and the safety. Everything is a process. And believe that. We look forward to seeing people as well in public too.
Mr. Mayor, we do have that capability of the public being involved on Zoom.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know because I didn't realize they could make comments. I'm glad that was brought up.
Yeah.
Because I know we can, but I didn't know they could. So yeah, if that's available to them, by all means. Yeah, but I didn't realize that was available.
Yeah, they can send in comments.
Right.
I'm sorry, Trustee Brooks.
Yeah, I was gonna say that we have two trustees that definitely want some form of workshop where the public is involved. That if we can somehow accommodate that, I think it's obvious that two of them are very passionate that they want public input in reference to this, and if we can somehow make it happen to move forward.
And the comments will be on YouTube and not Zoom. So you're right. That's where the comments come in.
Comments come in on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
However, we can work it out, that they're very adamant about public involvement and how the residents can start being more involved, especially in something like this.
So what I'll do is I'll get, can you guys hear me? Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'll get something to the clerk and mayor by Friday. That gives, she can get that out to you guys, and then you guys can do how you want to do the workshop so that it gets out there. If, you know, the concept, and for some reason, I thought this was something we had talked about at a previous meeting a little bit, but maybe I'm wrong.
It was, Joe. It was.
Oh, okay. So, but I'll get that to you guys, and then you guys can go from there as far as your setup.
All right. Fantastic. Because it's a good program, and it's something that we need in place moving forward. Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, so I guess we don't have to ask the trustees about what order we go in because we've already done that community benefits. So our last item on the agenda will be the discussion on youth and senior programs. Okay, and I like to start that off. As everyone's aware that we do not have a park and recreation department, and we're in midst on whether we're going to go to referendum for a park district. But in the meantime, there are still things that need to be done in the community. There needs to be, in my opinion, there needs to be camps, programs, and some things building up to make sure that there's activity for our residents as far as not just all sports, from STEM programs to golf programs to culinary cooking to farming programs to agriculture programs. So this is wide open for everybody to bring in their dialogue, and maybe this can be a two-part agenda as our two lady trustees wanted to speak about and engaging the public in this on a YouTube virtual workshop or something of that nature. So the whole thing is, what do we want to do from the municipal standpoint on trying to put some kind of programs and formats and at least give them opportunities to have some kind of outlet for educational and physical activity resources in the community.
Again, I say that the residents should be here with us to discuss this. I don't think it should just be us.
Well,
let me ask you.
They have kids, they are senior citizens, they should be here to voice their opinion.
Oh, okay, trustee, give me 1 second, guys. Trustee, I heard you, I understand it, and it's no problem whatsoever. We're gonna make that happen. But in the meantime, what would be your suggestion on what kind of program would you like to see operate within the village of University Park? Take your time, we'll come back to you. You can just take time for a minute.
Mayor, can I be recognized?
Trustee Williams?
Brooks got his hands up first.
Okay, want me to come back to you, Liz?
Okay.
I still agree. I still say what I say, Mayor. I feel that it should be, the residents should be here too.
Okay.
Okay.
Mayor,
Trustee Shirley, then Trustee Kurt, then Trustee McBrooks. Go ahead.
Brooks had his up first.
Okay, Trustee Brooks, go ahead, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mayor, I thought that this would probably come out because we had budgeted this in 2018 at least, and it was in a 2019 budget that we would have.
And what budget?
It was the 2018, look at the 2018 and 2019 budget. We tried to have a kids program. We called him a kids program specialist. I can't remember the title right off back. I guess that's age catching up. But the salary was about 30-something thousand, and the purpose of that individual would be more on a part-time basis, so we would not have to pay benefits. They would not be someone that's constantly at Village Hall doing nothing. This individual, their main purpose is finding programs or creating programs or bringing programs to the village that would get our kids involved. If there is indeed something such as baseball or football that it was in need of, that such as that $6,000 reimbursement. Well, this individual would be like a liaison to the board. They would be almost close to the position of a director, but only on a part-time position. But this person's sole job is to bring the programs and have programs involvement with our kids in University Park. Somewhere down the line, I think it fell wayside. But that was a discussion that was made because what we had witnessed was, this was after you left, Mayor. It was as trustee. about $750,000 budget for the park and rec. We seen what happened to it. We seen the barn. We seen just so many programs that had went bad. We just felt that maybe that's, because at the end of the day, Mayor, like I know, it's something that if somebody really have their heart into making sure that things are done for this village, that this person of a salary that we pay money to would make sure that things would happen. So I thought that would be the first thing that would be stated to you, that was the first initiative that we had took. And I don't know when I think we were going to try to hire him in 2019. I think some plans didn't go as some trustees or some members of the board prior to you coming on and these board members, it didn't work out. But we felt that at least a person with a $36,000 salary, including some experience and education and dealing with seniors and dealing with children, would establish programs to make sure that we can at least go on the right path. And Mr. Mayor, we felt that once this, and this is what I had told you probably when you first got in, we want Park and Rec to return, but we need the right person in charge to make sure that it goes the right way. Because one of the big things I had was that if everything was fine, we can have the barn open and the animals back. But at this point, it was just the stage. So if we can take a look, I do know we called him a coordinator because we wanted to be careful of what we had to offer. I think Ms. E would probably would tell me that I'm probably correct on that. If you're going to call him a director, you probably have to start issuing benefits and so forth. But we created the title of coordinator.
Okay, so go ahead, Madam Clerk.
I was just going to dove in on what Trustee Brooks is saying. And I kind of remember, I can even tell you the person who was designated, but I'm not going to, for that position. But I remember a salary of about $24,000 for a part-time person bringing in. And if we have to go back a few years to 2016, when we were in financial difficulties, and the animals were actually sold. They ended up being sold to the people that came to rescue them, because we did not have the funds to operate the Parks and Recreations Department. We did not have the funds to operate Regal Farm and take care of the animals. So that's what, I remember, but it dates back to 2016 when we discovered what a financial deficit this village was in. So I think that's why that program was put on hold, because we did not have the funds to move forward with it at that time.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. So I guess what I was thinking, I think that maybe we can collaboratively work on see what programs that we want to have under this scope, not just athletic, because I would definitely want to have some kind of science, some kind of STEM program, some kind, some learning programs, because everybody's not athletically inclined, and we got to just look a versatile group. So everybody can say, well, Trustee Sonia might say, well, Mayor, I'm interested in creating community gardens and helping people how to feed themselves and live healthy and eat healthy. Trustee Sonia might want a gardening program. Trustee Brooks might want a 2-week camp on football basics and fundamentals. Me, I'm a former minor league baseball player. So if there's the right things going, I'm going to want to do a 2-week basic fundamental skills and fundamental camp. Trustee Franklin might want to do something else. Trustee Shirley might want to work on economic development and teach them small business and entrepreneurship. Madam Clerk might want to teach them how the seniors on how to do basic queries and emails, as Trustee Franklin stated down the line. So there's a variety of things that if we come up with a program, and if there is an individual or an opportunity for someone to delegate those programs, they should have the programs that we feel that our residents would like to have at an affordable cost, and then we'll move it from there. Because remember, it's a flat, I got you, Madam Clerk. If there's a flat cost, there's always going to be operating and equipment expenses. So that's another thought. So we have to just come up with something. Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Well, I was just going to say, since this does entitle summer youth and senior programs, I would like to see a program for the seniors. Don't know where we could hold it or have it right now during this pandemic that deals with exercises.
Like silver sneakers.
You know, yeah, like silver sneakers, something for our seniors. And also, I've always been an advocate also of using our seniors to start mentoring our youth. So this is something our Senior Citizens Committee has been looking at for a few years. But to execute these programs, we have to have location. We have to have the funding to be able to pay somebody to come in, do the exercise, teach us on nutritious eating and you know, the safety issues. So that's what I would like to see when funding is available, that we take a serious look at programs, not only for the seniors, but to bring together the seniors and the youth in some programs where our youth could learn how to give, how to help. See, and our seniors could, because we have a lot of seniors who are either retired, worked in nursing professions or the different professions. So I think we just need to come together and decide what is it we want to do, because at one time there was this building in the town center that the village had bought some used equipment, exercise equipment and stuff that was to be used for our youth and our seniors. So I think we need to go back and take another look at that and come together on location, funding, and the participation. Now is when we need everybody who can help to help. We as residents, we have more of a responsibility than just to complain, but to come forward with ideas and offer their assistance. That's it. That's all.
Hey, Mayor, can I be recognized, Mayor?
Give me 1 second. Trustee Franklin has the floor, and Trustee Sonia and Trustee Curtis.
What happened, Mayor?
Go ahead, Tyson. Trustee Franklin.
All right. So I think it's been some really good comments made. I think I honestly think our best solution, because we don't have parks and recs, we don't have park district, we lacking the facilities that we would need to sustain programs throughout the entire summer. But if we can come together to create a calendar of events in which we identify commitments that we can make work throughout the summer. So I've already began to make sure that I'm being solution based, because this is something that's dear to heart to me. And when you guys are talking about that person that was being considered for that position, I was approached with that position.
Yeah.
Because of what I do in the community, from the heart. So here's what I'm committed to, so we can begin to create the calendar of events. So I'll be committed to doing an initiative that's focused on an anti-obesity campaign for the youth in the community, which will be a weekend event that I'll do it'll be targeted for all the kids in the community. It'll be a weekend event. We focus on basic exercise and physical fitness techniques, things that they can put into their daily routines. This is something that I'll be willing to commit to do in June. And also the same type of initiative for the seniors. So what me and my wife will be willing to commit to do is probably in the parking lot of the senior building. We'll do a weekend as well, to where we'll do some basic fitness and exercise techniques for the seniors. This will be the 7th year that I've committed to doing the Lionheart Strength and Conditioning Camp. So this is a more of an intensive camp for the children in the village. That will be a 2-week program that's Monday through Friday, and this typically starts on July 1st.
Cheerleading?
Football and cheer. But what we'll do this year, we'll open it up to anybody, whether they're looking to play football or cheer or not. They can be a part of this 2-week physical conditioning camp. As you know, a lot of kids have been sitting on their couch eating snacks all pandemic. So I think a lot of parents will be open to having their children come out. But the reason that we'll do a less intensive one that will just be for a weekend, and then we'll do a more intensive one that will be for 2 weeks. Also one of the programs that is sustained throughout the summer is the Lions program, which will go from July to November. But we're also looking to do a spring session that we're going to focus on middle school and giving the 8th graders their opportunity to play some 7-on-7 football before they go to high school. So I had a meeting earlier where we just booked the national tournament where it's going to be, and we're going to host a tournament at the Sparta Dome, which is going to be on May 16th. So this will be another opportunity for our University Park youth to participate in this football tournament. And then another idea that I would like to entertain, if we can put together, there may be a little funding attached to this, but when I was younger, we used to have a 3-on-3 basketball tournament at Craig Park.
Watch out now.
So I think if we can get a committee together and make sure that we have security in place and everything in place, and we can put together this 3-on-3 basketball tournament, and this will be in the month of July. But finally, something that I think is the most important. If we genuinely love and care about the well-being of our children in the village of University Park, as a board, it's really time to start having intentional conversations about how we plan to address the mental health crisis that is really looming and present in our community, that's only been intensified by the pandemic. As of right now, the initial studies show that anxiety and depressive disorders are up about 56%. Yeah. That's a scary statistic. And also substance abuse is up 25%. Suicidal thoughts and ideation is up about 26%. So this is something when we're talking about programming, I want to make sure that we keep this at the forefront. So I've been talking to a few organizations to where I'm gonna take leadership on putting together some mental health screening events for the children within the community. So these screening events will allow for screenings and assessments, but also opportunities for teletherapy and wraparound services. So I think this is something that we have to figure out a way to incorporate. I was thinking when we do the 2-week initiative, we can set up some screening for mental health while we're tackling physical health and mental health all at one time. So these are some of the ideas and the commitment that me and my family are willing to make. I think if we begin to put these things on the calendar and begin to fill out the June and July and August calendar, we can have programs that may look different, but we can sustain programs and activities for the youth and the seniors throughout the summer months.
Okay. And I like to add to that, because there's some programs that I would like to foster, and I would like to have a basic introduction to tennis. Again, tennis is on the rise for African-American young ladies and men. So there may be a stimulating interest for our young people in tennis. I would also like to see, I got a commitment from our new PGA pro that he'll do a basic introduction of golf skills for our young people. And I would also, our engineer has expressed an extreme interest, because he would like to take the young people who are interested and fishing to show them a new skill on what the basics of fishing are. So I think that, and I would be willing to commit to a weekend skills baseball camp where I'll call some guys in and give away some baseballs and teach them the basic fundamentals. So, and I'm willing to commit to that because that is my passion. And for, you know, and I'm good with that. And this is how we work together as a community and bridge the gap.
A lot of talent on this board. We got to use what we have to get through this summer for sure. We have to get through this summer.
And I'm sure when Trustee McMullen comes on, he might be interested in doing a weekend series of basic introduction to self-defense or something. I don't know, Curtis, if that's what you're going to say, but it's on you, Trustee McMullen.
Okay, listen. Back, if you all can remember, back in 2009 and 2011, when I ran, it was part of my campaign that we didn't have a park district because I taught martial arts out of Hickory and I taught martial arts out of the barn. We didn't have any, and we still don't have any park district. We don't have any land. What we do is to piggyback off 201U and utilize some of their facilities for our park district, so to speak. You know, that's what we've been doing over the years. But that land between that store and Blackhawk is a land that I felt that was necessary for a park district. Some housing that we can have, some prefab housing, maybe some housing that will accommodate the park district between.
What do you do?
No, between Burnham and the dollar store. That land there, I can utilize that. We can utilize that as a village, as a park and rec center that can be constructed right then and there. Because you know how long it took us to pave the parking lot? Man, we talked about that since 2009. And what year did we get it done? In 2020?
Before 2009, Curtis.
11
I remember
years?
you brought the Flying Aces to the town center for the martial arts show.
Yeah, I know that, but you know, that's true. You have a good memory. but the thing is, I'm too old for it right now. But thinking about the park district and that land in between Burnham and the dollar store is fabulous for a townhouse, for a town center that we can house the park district. What do you think about that? Is there any discussion about that at all, or what? Because we really need a park district in University Park, because everyone has a park district except University Park. We don't have one. We are smart enough. We don't have one. We just don't have one. And I'm really ashamed that we don't have one. Like the parking lot, it took 11 years to get the parking lot paved. I campaigned about it since 2009. And 2020, people still didn't want it, but the village manager made sure that it got done after 11 years. So what can we talk about the park district? What can we do? What can we do?
Mr. Mayor, may be recognized.
Right there.
Mayor, may be recognized.
Trustee Brooks, this Trustee Sonia.
What? Who? Wait.
Go ahead. This is Women's Month, Trustee.
I'm listening to what Trustee Franklin is saying, and that's a wonderful idea. But you want to get involved and you want to help and you don't want to overstretch yourselves. And, I've been partnering with some organizations in Chicago that offers a lot of the programs that I've just mentioned for free. They arm stretch wide. They have a lot of resources that can be utilized, and maybe we can hook you up with those people and they can help, you can collab on different things that they have that is going on. I'm interested in bringing in the agricultural program for Regal Farm to start the farm to come back. Miss Ernestine had dedicated $100,000 to starting the renovation of the farm and getting things back on track. And so my thing is that, we need to start the children off. We want to make sure that they get what they need. And I am so grateful for you to want to do everything for the children. And it's just an honor to have you on this board and working for our children and constantly involved in their lives. Mental health is one of the things that is dear to me. When I was at the hospital, I worked on the behavior science floor, and it's real. Mental health is real. Suicide is up, and it's nothing to play with. I remember when my son was attending Creek-Money Middle School, and within a year before the pandemic, 4 children committed suicide. So it is something that is really real, and it needs to be addressed. I have one of I call her my sister from another mother. She is a child psychologist, and she specializes in interacting with children with mental issues, and she works out of home with Flossmoor, and she gives to the community in that capacity. And I just want to make sure that the children have something to do and they're active. But I am also in agreement with what Trustee Brooks is saying, that if we can dedicate money to different things in our village, we need to dedicate money to our children and bringing someone in that can possibly help us with getting the resources that we may not be able to reach, that they have, and this is what they do for a living, and this is what they do. And God has blessed me tremendously to come into contact with people that have these resources, and this is what they do every day on a daily basis. And I want to hook you up with this person so you can maybe get together and they can help you bring some people in, because I've had one of the NBA, what is his name? I can't call his name right now. Basketball players.
Sam.
That is it, not him. That is interested in bringing a free basketball camp, COVID-friendly free basketball camp to University Park. He just needs a facility to have it, and we're looking into trying to get and partner. He's trying to partner with Governor State University, so maybe you can facilitate that and get that off the ground. We also have some baseball players, professional baseball players that play for the Marlins that want to come in and kind of host a baseball camp, because that's what we were trying to do, is start a camp instead of a team, because we don't know if they're going to have leads. You don't know. It's still up in the air because of COVID. So I have also been working to make sure that our children have something to do. I'm also looking into starting a 40+ Double Dutch Club. I don't know if you're familiar with that. They have a 40+ Double Dutch Club. There's one located in Matson, and I'm looking into getting one here in University Park as well. So these are things that we need to put together as a group, as a collective body, and make sure that our village starts to come back, and Park and Rec or Park District, whichever one we choose to pick, or the residents say they want, is something that we need to truly look into and make sure that everybody has something to do for these taxes that we're paying, and we don't have to leave outside of our community. So this is where I'm at with that.
Thank you. Thank you. Trustee Brooks. Trustee Williams, did you have something? No?
Okay.
Were you making a motion or something? Were you waving? I'm sorry.
No, I was turning my mic back on.
Okay.
I also wanted to say something, but go ahead, Brooks. You go ahead. I agree with everything Sonia Jenkins said. I agree with everything she said. So that, in my conversation, you go ahead, Brooks.
Yeah. Thank you, Trustee. First of all, I just kind of, with Trustee Franklin, he always come with facts that that's actually true. And I don't know if I think I showed some board members. I know Curtis has seen the photos of my back. I have, outside of mayor, I also have the certificate of when you go through the airport, you the thing go off.
Hey man, I ain't got nothing to do with that, man.
Yeah, because I got metal in my back, and it was from a mental patient. So I understand the seriousness of it. But I just want to just kind of hit back on one point, that whatever the residents want to do when it comes to whether they want a park district. I just want us to be prepared, no matter how the dynamics of how the board may look. I am confident that the village board will bring back the park and rec, because it was not made to be gotten rid of. It was a temporary solution to a situation where money was clearly not there, like Madam Clerk related. And I believe that if we get a coordinator who is educated in such activities, who is financially conscious and has the capabilities of creating programs through community feedback, such as what Trustee Franklin has said, things that Trustee Jenkins Bell has said, all these programs that this individual that would have the intellect that can take something like this, put it together. And what I do believe is that by the time come, whatever the taxpayers decide, if they decide a park district, then we'll have a park district. But if we go and bring our park and rec back, I do believe that us as a board with this investment, with having a coordinator, I believe that it would be our responsibility at the same time to restore Regal Farm. It will be our responsibility to not only restore the farm, but then go ahead and expand out and then start discussing responsible expenditures, Mr. Mayor, in order for us to have a park and rec that will work under our umbrella compared to before, where we do believe that we were, wasting money. I do believe that us as a board can make that happen. I yield my time.
Thank you. And you know what? And this is all it's about, is starting the conversation, because our goal is to ensure that we have things in place. Let's say by the end of May, that we will have some direction, that we will have a portfolio to roll out and say, there's some things that we're doing collectively that we can keep everybody completely engaged. We've got to engage everybody. 50+ walking clubs on Saturday mornings, bike riding clubs, chess and checker clubs, where we can put checkerboards out in the park and the old schools can go out there and play chess and checkers. So we got the potential to do a whole lot of great things. But make a long story short, that's the whole intention of the community benefits, because we've got the second largest industrial park in the state of Illinois. And if they're going to be in our community, we're going to be one big community and not divided. So that's the whole thing. So I'm hearing everything that you guys are saying, and your mayor is 100% behind the Board of Trustees. Absolutely.
I just got one thing to say, gonna end it because I gotta go. So I want to let you know that I think that if we put in that physical education, it'll help all of us, the kids, the teenagers, the senior citizens, we'll all get healthy. Physical education.
And you know what? It'll really be good to be driving down the block and see our young ladies out there doing hopscotch, jumping rope, to see our ball fields active, to see our young people riding their bikes, and to see young families walking their children through the community and working collaboratively with government state, taking advantage of our golf course, our TV station, our Regal Farm, our Pine Lake. We got so much to offer. We're a work in progress, but if we continue to stay positive, work together, we will accomplish all those things. Because see, we're gonna pass it on to the next generation. It's not for us. We're just the legislators and the policymakers. And it's my goal to pass that torch and say, young blood, it's your turn now. Pop's out of here. But you got something to work with.
I have a motion. I have a motion to be dismissed.
Wait a minute. So you trying to get up out of here?
Me too.
All right, listen. As we close out, I just want to say one thing, and it's vitally important. There's a moratorium with Aqua Water right now. The moratorium states that there can be no utilities cut off prior to March 31st. But after March 31st, all hell could potentially break loose. So there's one remedy that I'm going to encourage everyone to take advantage of. You have to call Aqua Water, in our instance, and ask to get on their payment plan. If you do not do that and call them, you do face the risk of them cutting off your water supply. Neva will show the flyer, and I'll ask every single trustee again to pass the word. If you have not done it, if you have not made arrangement with Aqua Water, please make arrangements with Aqua Water for COVID-19 relief. It's vitally important to where we go. There you go, Neva. There you go. Thank you. Please take advantage of that. Please, trustees, take this out, get it to the streets, get it to the residents. We don't want to have anybody water cut off by this predatory water company. And we're going to continue that fight, but we're going to do as much as we possibly can. COVID-19 utility relief. So please take heed, call Aqua Water if you have not been paying your bill, your sewage bill, and make a payment arrangement. That's all I can ask you. And you'll hear more from me until March 31st, unless the ICC extends it. Right now, there has been not a notice of an extension. So take advantage of the time we have now. Today is March 9th. Pick up the doggone phone and call the people and make sure you're on a payment plan so you won't have any cutoffs. And that's what I'm saying.
Thank you.
And last but not least, there's a very, very important referendum on the April 6th ballot. And this referendum is saying that 201U will build a new school in University Park, which will be Coretta Scott School. So we're going to ask each of the residents to vote yes on the referendum, because if 201U does not build a school in University Park this time go around, Lord knows when we'll ever get another chance to revisit this issue. So now is the time. Pass the word. Thank you so much. Is there a motion?
So move.
Move. Motion by Trustee Sonia, second by Trustee Brooks. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much. It's been a bit long, but it's well, good, healthy conversation. Thanks, guys. Stay safe.
Good night. Just stay
Good night.
safe, everybody. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Good
Joe.
night.
Nice tie, buddy.
Good night.
Good night, Madam Clerk.